Humanity has existed for around 300,000 years, spanning thousands of generations, which have included thousands of wars, disasters, conflicts, and billions of individual problems people have had to solve. If you or anyone you know believe you are the sole defect of your species that has no way to solve their problems or complete any of their goals, please get a grip. This isn't to say you're a baby and your problems are stupid. Your problems are valid, if not to everyone else, then at least to you. This is more to dissuade you from the ever so present mindset that the answer to being able to work through your problems or to your goals is by sheer force of will, and an inability to do so reflects on you as a person. Now, that's a stupid thought to think. Sure, humanity has existed for 300,000 years with billions of individual problems, like I said, but I just meant that as a reminder that you, as an animal blessed with the gift of self-reflection, can overcome any problem, and historically our species has a record of doing so. In all reality, though, the problems of our ancient ancestors were like planting crops, moving that stone 10 feet over to the left, try not to crap in the drinking water. Truly and honestly, if those were your problems, you wouldn't need this video. Well, you also wouldn't be seeing this video, but regardless. Your problems are complicated. They have consequences that you're expected to predict before they happen. You've been expected since the 5th grade to think about your 5, 10, 15-year plan for the future. You're expected to work for money or grades, while the stock market looks like it's about to hit bedrock, and the United States military is being deployed against the United States. Yeah, sure, frick it, man, whatever. It's hard being alive in this day and age, no doubt about it. So instead of trying and failing and hating yourself, let's take a look at instead removing the mental hurdles that are stopping you from succeeding in the first place. Then we can get back to the self-loathing and all that good stuff. Real quick disclaimer before we get into the thick of it. Please keep in mind that I am not legally certified for anything besides various power equipment, and that this video is coming solely from anecdotal evidence on how I've coped with this world. In a good way, mind you. I'd vouch that my shit is about 48.9% more together than your average person, but still, my advice might not work for you. And that's just the nature of living different lives. If my advice does help you through something, then I'm glad, and you can give it back by hitting the like, comment, and subscribe button. It makes numbers go up, and I like seeing numbers go up. Like, a lot. So it really does mean something to me if you hit those few buttons. Anyhow, back to your scheduled brainwashing. The way I've understood what stops people from chasing their goals based on my experiences and the experiences of those around me typically come back to 3 main issues. Executive dysfunction, or I'm likely neurodivergent and my brain is yanking the reins away from me at all points in time disorder, anxiety or brain fog, and lastly, but definitely most destructively, existentialism. I've realized something about life and I don't know how to cope with it. Yeah, that's a tough one, so let's start on easy mode, executive dysfunction. If you find that your efforts to start something aren't blocked by anything in particular, they just tend to start and end with the thoughts in your mind while never actually becoming something, then you're probably facing executive dysfunction. Typically, the solution to not being able to do something is to practice, but if the problem is your ability to start practicing, then you're screwed, right? A lot of people are. This struggle is way more common than you might think, and most people haven't found their way through yet. As of about a year ago, I am no longer one of those people. Work for me is still going to be practice, but in a way that's much easier than going to war with your own brain. Just because you can't set your mind to working on specific things doesn't mean you're doing nothing at all. At some point, you're going to give up trying to fight your brain and start watching videos or playing games, or at the very least, standing up to go take a bathroom break. And that's where I got my practice. Instead of starting with trying to command my brain to make me do difficult things, I just made sure to consciously tell myself to go do the things I was already going to do. Seems simple, but eventually doing that enough built up a habit to act upon what I was thinking. Then, slowly but surely, I started doing more difficult tasks than the things I was already going to do. I could start brushing my teeth, cleaning my room, cleaning my garage, repairing a door frame, cleaning up black mold. It really started to add up to the point where I finally started getting back into exercising and video making, which, for a depressed dude with ADHD, is not half bad, IMO. Give it a whirl, building discipline the easy way by consciously controlling what you already do and then slowly moving that discipline into the things you don't already do. I hope that's enough to solve your problems, but if it doesn't, or executive dysfunction wasn't your problem in the first place, then let's move on to the second problem, anxiety and brain fog. So in my experience, these two things are closely related but can be addressed differently. The difference between the two, for me at least, is whether you're panicking about a specific thing or just panicking in general. If you find yourself panicking about a specific thing, then I'd recommend dealing with it like you deal with fears and phobias, that being exposure therapy. Once you have identified triggers, what about starting a project or working towards a goal makes you panic? Slowly expose yourself to larger and larger doses of that thing or idea. If it's rejection, start by asking people close to you to be more and more critical of your work. If it's a fear of identity and how people see you, start incorporating larger and larger expressions of yourself into your daily life, etc. The important part is to not start too large and to scare yourself back into not trying. Progress is slow, and that's okay. It's important that you're trying, not that you're succeeding. Exposure therapy is how I dealt with specific anxieties about content creation and reaching goals in general. But there's still the issue of non-specific anxiety, that brain fog. For this, I would like to share a really fun fact about the brain that is basically the key to the kingdom for getting past brain fog. Did you know that A, your brain is conscious of how much control it has over a situation, B, upon sensing a lack of control, your amygdala becomes more active, and C, an overactive amygdala is responsible not only for anxiety and PTSD over a course of time, but also suppresses the other parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for, well, a lot of things. An easier way to remember this is thinking you're in control of a situation helps your brain function better. And likewise, if your brain is not functioning well, giving yourself an easier to control situation might help. And that is precisely what I do for my brain fog. If I feel panicked about doing a goal, I lower the threshold for a job well done until I stop panicking. This means my goals in my head often look like complete this sentence or 2 more reps, both of which are almost meaningless by themselves. But you know what I do when I complete one goal? I do it again. And again. And again and again and again. And then that's how this script was made. It is crazy how much easier this life seems when you just break things down into smaller pieces. It's something we've all done. When you were in school, I'd bet money at least once you looked at the clock and thought, damn, 40 minutes left. Wait, that's just 10 minutes 4 times. And that's just 5 minutes 8 times. I can deal with 5 minutes 8 times. That's not so bad. It works the same way with any concept you want to make more digestible. Just place it on your goals and voila. All of a sudden, the impassable mountain of work just looks like a series of steps. This is not only a much more effective way of looking at your work, but is also much less stressful, which you and I and everyone else desperately need at a time like this. Now, if you aren't having thoughts about existentialism or absurdism, I wouldn't recommend starting now. That stuff is complicated and painful to think about. It's like the plague for philosophers. It deserves its own video, which honestly I might make if this video makes big number, but more importantly, don't keep watching if you don't already have existential thoughts. Just keep it moving. Okay, you're still here despite my warnings. That brings us to our third and final barrier, existentialism. Now, I use the word existentialism because it's big and should scare people off, but it's not what I'm exactly talking about here today. I'm talking about absurdism, the conflict between a meaningless world and a mind only satisfied with meaning. Have you ever had the thought, the goal I'm reaching for doesn't even have a purpose, why should I pursue it? Or better yet, there's no tangible reason for achieving my goals, what am I even trying to achieve for? Well, thoughts like these are tackling absurdism. The universe is meaningless and indifferent to your existence, and you, the hyper-intelligent primate cursed and blessed with the ability to notice this, need meaning to fuel your ambitions. I've seen people kill for the sake of love or hate, but I haven't seen even a single paperclip be bent for a lack of meaning. So how do we live this life as creatures who use meaning as fuel for getting past life's challenges, despite the fact that there is no meaning to anything in this universe? I'm going to try my best to summarize The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus in a short amount of time. Do remember this is what worked for me, but it is still an interpretation for specifically my situation. Bars. So if you read The Myth of Sisyphus and disagree with my interpretation, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear different perspectives. And if you feel like this doesn't work for you, still let me know why in the comments below, because I'm still curious. Anyhow, we can scope over a large part of The Myth of Sisyphus, as a large chunk of it is explaining that the universe is meaningless and humans need meaning to be satisfied, yada yada yada, and the other answers for this contradictory existence haven't worked yet. So let's just agree with him there to save some time because I want to get to the good stuff. Albert Camus' answer for this dilemma is more an examination of 3 consequences of living the absurd lifestyle rather than a step-by-step program. He says that the 3 consequences of living the absurd life, that being the life where you seek meaning in a meaningless universe and you are conscious of this, is the revolt, the freedom, and the passion. In my eyes, this means that there is 1, a freedom in accepting the meaningless nature of the universe. By giving up trying to accomplish a goal, you are free to live as yourself. Kind of like when the weekend rolls around and you're free to do whatever you want because you aren't beholden to anything, but like on a universal scale. But to keep on living and to keep on struggling, there is two, an ongoing and never ending revolt against meaninglessness. Instead of giving in to the meaningless and giving up on life, which so many have concluded to be the only answer, there should be a struggle to keep on going, and that is because of three, the passion of life. Understanding that every moment you consciously struggle against meaningless, regardless of suffering or joy, regardless of success or failure, and regardless of meaning, you are truly alive. Truly experiencing the world and yourself for what it is a freedom and control over one's own meaningless life, which one can be satisfied in. Essentially, the race is unwinnable, and it's not always good. But if you are consciously aware of all these factors and still choose to participate, you're not only living life to the fullest, but are claiming victory over meaninglessness. Now, I did say I want to make a step-by-step program for this, not because I'm a life coach or because a step-by-step program is necessarily what's best for understanding Albert Camus' work, but just because I like yapping. It's in the channel name after all. So step 1, accept that this life is meaningless and often painful. Take however much time you need to mull it over. Don't let my casual tone fool you, this is heavy guano. Step 2, once you've accepted the previous truths, revolt against them in your actions and what you do. You want this life to have meaning and be nice to live, even though you know neither is possible. And step 3, while physically revolting against the meaninglessness, staying consciously aware that it is meaningless, also try to be aware of the fact that you are fighting. Appreciate the fact that you are struggling and participating in the race, despite the fact that you may never win it. With that knowledge, you have a conclusion, an end goal and meaning that is only found within the struggle of reaching for it. A satisfaction so self-contradictory that it cannot burn itself out. And, yeah, that's all I got on that topic. And that's all I've got for this video. Of course, there are other issues that might prevent you from starting work on your goals, but you don't need to hear them from me, because I wouldn't know about them. If I did manage to help clear something up, let me know with a comment. And if you like the content, let me know with a like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning into the Yap Fest, and I'll catch you later at the next one. See ya.